Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Well, finally, I can get back on this Hallicrafters S-210 here, of Bob's radio. Bob has been very busy, and we never seem to be able to connect because we play phone tag quite a bit. He's got the capacitors. I just met him this morning, and we're going to get started on this radio now. I was going to do this video using the LG stylo, and I set it up on a tripod and everything, and it worked okay, but I kept getting notifications, doot-doot, 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 and I mean, I can't have that coming through on the video. I don't understand these things, so I can't shut them off. I don't even know what I'm doing. So I decided I'm not using this for making the videos. I will use this for magnification purposes as I intended to do. So we're on the Kodak PlayTouch set at 720p. Now, before I actually get started on the radio, the diameter of the original electrolytic is 1 1/4 inches. And this medicine bottle right here is 1 1/4 inches. So I got the caps from Bob, and what I'm going to do is set this up on a tripod here, and I'll show you what I plan on doing, and I'll get the chassis of the radio back on the bench here. This is part number 2. If you followed this video series last month, there was a checkout of the Hallicrafters, and then there was a video saying no room. That was referring to the capacitors. If you look back on them, you'll see. And then there was part 1 of the restoration. So take it from there. This is part 2. Hang on a minute. I'm at a disadvantage here because I don't have the camera boom because it won't fit the Kodak PlayTouch. So I'm very disorganized when it comes to that. You're going to have to bear with me. I'm doing the best I can. And short of hand holding it, which I try to avoid doing, this is the best I can do. So Bob got the book off of eBay, model S-210. And where I'm going to need the cell phone is this tiny, tiny, tiny schematic here. I don't even know if you can see that. I don't even know if I'm in focus or in camera. I don't know. But anyways, I'm going to be using the cell phone as a magnifier to magnify this schematic so I can read it. I spend more time editing. I wasted about half an hour trying to get the cell phone to work right. But when I had it all set up on the tripod here with the mount, and then I kept getting these notifications coming in. This is on Wi-Fi. I don't have it activated as a phone, but I'm getting all these notifications coming in, weather notifications or whatever, I don't know, and it kept going over the video. It's very, very irritating. So we can't use this for making videos. Unless I shut the Wi-Fi off, if that's possible. I'm not going to deal with that. So here we go with the capacitors that Bob sent me. So these are 68 microfarad at 160 volts from Sal's capacitor corner. And these came from Jan Electronics, he picked up. These are 22 microfarad at 50 volts. And 47 microfarad. Oh, man. Where's my magnifying glass? 47 microfarads at 160 volts. And you can see our electronic supplier rips you off for $3.95. You can probably see that there. That's why I like dealing with Sal's capacitor corner because you can get much better deals. But anyways, we got the capacitors now that we can use in the radio. Now, what I want to do is to open these here. And we're going to need 2 out of this package. And the medicine bottle, because this is HD, there's going to be more parts to this than normally when I record a WVGA, because I just can't have a very long video, because I could have a video editing failure. So if you take 2 of these guys and you mount them this way, side by side, they will fit in the container perfectly. Matter of fact, side by side. It's raining out, by the way, if you wonder what that noise is. That's a story of our life. We lousy weekends every weekend. Well, this is Friday, but so anyways, I'll be able to get all the capacitors in this. So let's stop the video at this point in time. I removed 2 tubes here. This is the capacitor which I've already removed and cut the wires flush so I can use the wires for the capacitor bank that I'm going to make up here. This is the, okay, now you see there's a little play here. The next pill bottle size I have is 1.5 inches, so it's too big to fit into this. Now you see the height, I think I'm on an angle, I can't see the viewfinder, but you see how much longer that is? That's not a problem. It could stick up a little bit, but I'm going to have to cut this rim off where the cap goes, because it won't fit the bracket. And not only that, it'll come up higher than the speaker. You don't want the capacitor to go any higher than the speaker, and it's about 1/4 of an inch above the speaker. You don't want that. So we're going to have to cut this, and I'm going to do that in the main shed. Now, there's no way I'm going to duplicate this. It's going to have to be handwritten on it, because this sleeve here is not going to, can you see that? It's epoxy or whatever they use in here. I can't peel that off. I'll literally ruin it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put tape around this. I'll do that off camera and I'll show you. I'm going to put a piece of thin cardboard here, put it down on the top here, and then tape that on here, and then tape the whole thing. And then I'm going to cut this with a fine-tooth hacksaw and get this off. So I'm going to do that off camera. And you get you a hand shot here of macro. You can see that will accept 1.25 inches outside diameter. And you can see the wires down in there. Well, I clipped them very close to the capacitor body, because obviously you're not going to be able to dig that out of there, and you're not going to be able to use this shell. The medicine bottle is just a little bit smaller in diameter, but that's not a problem. You can see there's a little play there, but this has to go this way, and it's not going to fit with that lip on there, and this has got to be brought down so it's equal to the height of this or lower. So I will proceed to do that, and if I don't crack it, I'll be all set. If I break it, I'll have to use a toilet paper tube and improvise it somehow. And the toilet paper tube is 1.5 inches in diameter. It won't fit in there. And this is riveted down on each side here. So I could bring this out and force it in, but it would not be right. I'm trying to make this look as original as possible without having to put a terminal strip here and mount them up here. I think if it's inside of this here, it would look like a regular can. So let me work on this, and I'll show you when I'm all done. Okay, what I did here is I used some Gorilla duct tape, and I made a top cap for this. So now what I got to do is wrap Gorilla tape all around this here. So I'm just using this here Gorilla tape, and I think we can cover almost the whole container with the Gorilla tape, and maybe go around twice, because when it fits in here, it's still going to be loose, so I could probably put a couple of layers on it. I'm not going to be able to label it like this. All right, not a great job, but best I can do. The best I can do, Charlie. Perfect. All right, next step, get the capacitors inside and get out the schematic, and we're going to have to do that off camera so we can save some time here. Okay, as you see here, it looks to me like I can put all of these together. Let me get you a little closer here. All right, this is for the 20 at 25 volts, so this happens to be a 22 at 50, so that'll go right on the same bunch here. And the 47 replaces the 40, all 150 volts except for the 20 microfarads. And these are 160 volts. So that can sit right like that. And the other one can go right over here. And they will all fit right in there quite nicely and go way up into here. So before I do any of that, and the other capacitor fell on the floor, of course, as always, I could shorten this. I could hack that down and shorten it. It wouldn't be all that hard to do. So it'll be more equal to the height of this can. I might just do that. But I got to add leads to this to add on these leads that I cut off of the other capacitor, because these aren't going to come through the chassis and go in to the capacitors. The new capacitors, they won't quite reach. This is the negative. That may reach inside, but it would be very awkward for me to do that. So what I'm going to do is add leads to these, and the coloring may not be the same, so I'm going to have to jot it down on a piece of paper. Add some leads on these, get these all taped together or whatever, get them inserted into here, after I trim this down first, of course, and then the wires could be maybe a couple of inches long, so that they would come down. I could bring them about 3 or 4 inches long, come out to here, use heat shrink, connect them together, and then shove them into the can, and then stick some hot glue in there. That's my intention, is to put some hot glue in there. It doesn't have to be packed with hot glue, but it's got to be enough to hold them in. So I'm going to shorten this down. We'll come back on this video in a little bit here. Okay, as you can see, I shorten it. It's about almost a 1/4 inch shorter, but that's fine because we're only going to have one layer in here. These are all going in just like this. All just like this. So what I did here is I labeled them. These are the color wires that are coming out of the bottom of the radio, which was originally on the old cap. So I'll know when I'm going to look in my junk box, see if I can come up with a red, green, yellow, and blue. If I can't, then I got to make a notation down here so I don't screw up. I would be awful if I put the blue lead onto 160 volts. That would not be too good. Okay, so what I got to do now is I got to put the leads on these here. So I got to go dig into my junk box. I want to put the leads on this before I connect all these together and bring all the common negatives to here, which is the 2 negatives of these caps. And the negative of this will also be connected here, but one thing at a time. So off camera, I'm going to put some leads on here. So I'm going to my junk box now. That'll take me a few minutes, so don't go away. All right. This is how I did it. I made the connections, put a little Scotch 33 electrical tape, and then put the heat shrink over it. Tied all the grounds together. We got 4 caps in here. And they will fit perfectly in here. So I could choose to not super glue it. I mean, maybe I won't use the hot glue. But anyways, I got all the wires. These are the proper color wires, so everything will match perfectly. So the next step is to connect it up. I'll do that off camera and show you later in part 3. This is actually the finished product because I screwed up. I got everything soldered, but I forgot to put the black lead, the common lead, on the tie points of all the other electrolytics. It's a good thing I didn't try to mount this right away. So there she is. And she fits in nicely. So what I'm going to do, like I say, on part number 3, I'll do this off camera. I'm going to mount this, push the wires through, because this won't fit through the hole here. I'll put them through here. Slip the thing over the top. Now these wires are a little longer than they need be, but better long than short. And we'll bring them to the proper connections. Put some heat shrink in there, and then push them up into the can. Stay tuned for part number 3. This concludes part 2.